Welcome to Pennsylvania.
Chilly in here, still borderline. I forgot to put on my long sleeve t-shirts. That would have kept me a little warmer, I guess. Only took about 20 miles to realize that. Crossing over the Pittsburgh-Fort Wayne line. Yeah, it didn't take long to go from peak colors. Well, actually, prior to peak colors, just seemed like a week ago, to post-peak colors a week later. Weather warmed up and I had other things on my mind. And influx of Chevy vans. Come out from the left, go to the right lane. Come out from the right, go to the left lane. All gas stations, the left and right that were open when we were young. Another one on the left. You make sure you're fueled for the holiday weekend or the weekend, so those guys can be closed and enjoy time with their families. People just, when they think good old days, they only remember simple things, and when they were children, their parents kept them out of knowing all that was going on in the world. Road's starting to tear a little bit. By spring, this will be neat. Replaced. Wow. Good old Harry's, was real good. It's kind of dropped off. He's been wanting to sell it for a few years now, I think. Retirement time, and I don't think anybody wants it. And then the COVID thing didn't help. You never know what size fish you're going to go get when you go in there. So that might be an option to eat on the way home, but I don't know if they're open. Imagine they will be. Of course, you want I think it's Harry, you want him to cook the fish because he knows how to do it just right. If it's not him, it's usually overcooked. I just get the one without the bun. So I brought my youngest son in there a few years ago, and it was like turkey platters, all these fish sandwiches, and he goes, I was wondering why it didn't come with sides. I said, yeah. Of course, it's never been that big again. Most of the eating he did was with a fork till he get down to where the fish was the same size as the bone. So you get your money's worth either way. Went to Long John Silver's just 2 nights ago. Because I had to make a Walmart run for juice and water. So I said, well, I don't want to turn on the oven when I get home. So I think I spent $15 at Long John Silver's on a fish platter. 2 pieces of fish, maybe 5 pieces of shrimp, some hush puppies, some questionable coleslaw that you hope you make it through the night after taking one bite of. And then some fries I didn't eat all of. And about $7 worth of food for $15. Notice the Taco Bell stuff is quite expensive. A little Crunch breakfast wrap looks good for $5 or $6. Property for sale. We got a new building on the left here where the bus factory used to be. It says it's a Pennsylvania inspection station. And little aluminum hoppers on the railroad there. I guess on the siding. Wow, they're open for breakfast. We went in there when Harry's was on vacation by accident a few years ago. That was little triangle pieces of fish you can buy in the grocery store on a sandwich. Somewhat, if they didn't fix up the interior by now, I wouldn't waste my time. So we haven't gone back, and when something's like that, you usually don't go back unless it's essential. First time and only time I've ever been in there after driving by here for work for years. So instead of going down to Maryland, maybe we'll do that in the spring if we get to get the car. Well, shouldn't have to get the car checked out. We don't plan to put miles on the Salt in the wife's new car or this one. We'll use, each of us kept the old cars to do that with. And her Nissan's pretty good. It's starting to rust, but my van, oh my. Probably past the point where it can be welded if something comes apart again. Poor thing. But it runs and shifts fantastic. Chevy made a good product if they just made some rust proofing on those things. So they made the same style of van since the 90s, and they're really good running vans. I've seen videos where people re-engine them when they get near, before or after 1 million miles, just to keep on going out west. I talked with a guy that has a Chevy truck he's had for over 20 years, and I guess he might spray it for winter, but he says he just parks it for the winter. I said, yeah, it still looks the same 20 years later. It looks like new. I thought he replaced it a couple times. It's the same truck. So I figure I'd give you the ride in here. This is the way we used to go to visit my grandparents all the time, and there's an aunt. They tore their house down in Beaver Falls. I guess the college did eminent domain on the thing and let them stay there until they perished. And all it turned into was a gravel parking lot. I think the steps are still out front. Maybe I'll name the parking lot after my aunt and uncle. That'd be pretty cool. I love the new Broncos. I think they're awesome. And it doesn't seem to be a shortage of them. They're on the road and on the lots fairly well. Small Chevy dealer. He's got a bigger lot off to the side. Nissan, this guy had the expensive Leaf when I bought this one. Oh, he's got a 23 Leaf, black sitting there. Now, one of the things you can do when you look at cars when the sun's shining is just put your hand on the trunk lid to feel the heat. I had the wife do that when we looked at a white Volvo during the summer. And then had her put her hand on my car. She says, oh, that's much hotter. And then I had her put it on a black car. She says, oh. I said, yeah, that's why I prefer the white cars after living in the desert. And the white Chevy vans are ideal. So he's got a 23 Nissan Leaf. So we don't know if it's the... They only got two models now, the short range and the fairly long range fully loaded. They don't have this model, which is the longest range. So before, I think it was 226 on mine, 215 on the fully loaded one. Now it looks like it's 211. I'm not positive on that, but and like I said, everybody's going on these cars because they're not long-range travel cars. Well, the car goes further than I can drive it in a day, so I'm good. Maybe 350 to 450 at maximum, and then I want to stop for the night. And now it's winter time. Like I said, if this was, if we had longer days right now, I would go down to Maryland this afternoon and come back. But it's not just me. When you get older, most people do not want to drive at night. I'm one of them. I can do it. Used to prefer it when I was young. Now I don't like it. Probably just getting old. Something to do with the vision. So go to my grandparents' place. You turn left on Darlington Road. To go back home the back way, you turn right. They go to Negley, Rogers, and points east. So there is a great Mexican restaurant in the old Papin's place here in Chippewa. Really enjoy that. I over-order, and then I got take-home for one or two more meals. Just keep drifting forward. Maybe should have stopped in a proper place to begin with, HRV. And he's still going. Maybe if I intimidate the traffic light, it'll turn green earlier. Darlington Road. Oh my goodness. Darlington Road might have a repave on it. That was a desperate need. There's been a lot of work done this year in construction and bridges and things. Pretty amazing.
In a quarter mile, use the right lane to take the I-376 east ramp to Pittsburgh.
There you go. All kinds of construction going on. And that was one of the roads that needs it. Mahoning Avenue near Austintown needs it too.
Use the right lane to take the I-376 east ramp.
Somebody did a patching on here in the spring on the little cracks in the road and made it 10 times worse.
In a quarter mile, merge onto I-376 east.
So it's only 30.7 miles from my house, and we got 215 miles range. So we're just on the border of cranking the heat on. So the higher speeds here are probably going to get me to do it. And plus I forgot my long sleeve t-shirt. So I do have a thermal shirt on. So sometimes when I was bedridden, they changed, I guess, from 60 to 376. So I also noticed on the dash, I must have hit it in drive and did a double take. You got 2 drive modes in the Nissan Leaf. One is regular D, and right now it's in B mode, which it's max regeneration on braking and stuff. And probably, I don't think it matters is what I read in the manual, if my mind remembers right. It's I've got Eco on and E-pedal, which is single pedal drive, which is maximum anyway. So the car, I think it went up to as far as just driving not far from town. I went up to 247 miles, showing range. And like I said, I think I charged 92% last night. I just put it on for an hour. We're down to 4.8 miles per kilowatt hour. So just driving around local, it was 5 miles, and you can go over that. If you just drive around town, you'll get more miles per kilowatt hour, and then less once you leave the city. And the freeways where you're going to get the least amount of range. Complete opposite of a internal combustion engine, or ICE. So we brought our new drone with us. It doesn't handle the wind real well, but I think it was $146. Like I said, I was looking at ones that were $450 to $550 with collision avoidance and all that stuff. And I figured, you know what? Let's get something that's not going to be extremely painful if we obliterate it on the first flight. So mostly we've just gone up and down. Guilford Lake, we didn't move around that much at altitude because of the water. I bought a remote control boat before I went in the military for money I won in a contest, and put it in a creek, never saw it again. Still had the remote and the little batteries. And I chased after it in a brand new pair of shoes, which I also bought with the money I won from a photography contest and Wendy's little thing. They give you little tickets to when you buy food at the drive-thru back in 1980, 81. Ruined the shoes, lost the boat. The remote was like new. Alright, well, that gets us on 376. I think we'll just cut out here until we cross the river and stuff. Things get a little interesting. Talk to you in a bit.